I'm Carolyn McGavok, and I work for San Diego Continuing Education, and currently I'm teaching a cluster vessel class at our Mid-City campus. So at its core, it's a VESSL class, an acronym for Vocational English as a Second Language. And what's particular about our course is that we're a cluster vessel class, which means that many different occupation areas are represented in the curriculum. So we're able to offer an English class to a large number of students at the same English level, but who have different career goals together in the same room. Many of our students are studying English in order to get a job or do better at work, but they aren't all at the same English level or don't necessarily have the same career goals. So organizing a cluster vessel class allows us to organize a cohort of students at a similar English level despite the fact that they have different career goals. So for example, I'm able to work with a student who wants to work in a health field at the same time that I'm able to work with a student who has goals for an office skills or clerical type position. But from a program standpoint, you want to be able to gather those students in order to address their English needs and at the same time be able to do breakout groups according to their occupation-specific goals. The cluster vessel class offers an opportunity to learn vocabulary for your specific career area that a general ESL class just won't offer. You know, for example, students that want to become CNAs learn how to say bedpan, emesis basin. You know, I had never taught those vocabularies in a general ESL classroom. And so VESSL is the place to be if you want to develop that job-specific vocabulary. I think if you have a career-specific VESSL course, you're much more of an expert in that particular field. And in the cluster VESSL course, you still have to be knowledgeable about the different career areas, which in fact is one of the challenges, because I found myself needing to, I'm familiar with 5 different sets of curriculum at this point in time. And so it helped me very much to begin as a lab instructor, and then eventually I became one of the course instructors. Another one of the differences between teaching a cluster VESSL or a VESSL-specific class is that you have to organize your time differently, meaning that half of the class period I'm working with students, we're all together in a traditional instructor-led course with an emphasis on English language skills that relate to the workplace, general skills, job interviews, accident reports, communicating with coworkers, performance reviews, items that would apply to all career areas. And then 1 hour of the class time is in a lab setting where students study independently, and they're able to really focus on those soft skills such as reading written instructions, taking initiative, problem solving, managing their own time, where they're in an independent mode, and that allows us to provide different curriculum to different students at the same time. What I really like about this model is that we're able to provide the most relevant curriculum possible to each of the students. So that if a student really has a dream to work as an automotive technician one day, that student doesn't need to wait and finish all of the ESL levels and the GED prep before they can begin preparing for their ultimate goal. So we're putting more people in the career-oriented pathways at an earlier stage by offering this opportunity in the VESSL class. So what I would call a student success might look different depending on the student. A student success might be that a student has transitioned from an ESL course, such as our VESSL course, into a job training program. Or that VESSL student may have left the class because they got a job, or they may have got promoted at work because of their increased communication skills. Or it might mean that the student has decided for sure that this is the career that they want, and now they have that motivation to go on and to get the GED and the college requirements. So, each student's success might look different. Another success, what I would consider success that you might not normally think is a success, is that I'm often redirecting students away from what they thought their goal was. They have a chance to get information early on about what this career really looks like. And so a student might come in saying, I want to be a CNA because I know there are a lot of jobs in this field, but I find out that they really love working with children. And within the context of my class, I'm able to provide them with curriculum where they can experiment with an idea of what their goals might be before having invested a lot of time or perhaps money in a career training course that isn't ultimately where they want to be. When I first started working in the vessel class, I was surprised by the additional numbers of people that I needed to work with and coordinated with. Up until that point, I had been teaching an ESL class where I was the instructor and I made decisions about what the curriculum in my course would be based on the course outline, and I interfaced with my ESL coworkers and supervisors within that department. As a cluster vessel instructor, I needed to reach out and get to know the counselors. I needed to get to know instructors in departments outside of my ESL world. And until I realized that it was up to me to take the initiative to go out and forge those relationships, I wasn't able to help my students cross those bridges as effectively as I have been able to over time. So I would encourage a new instructor to maybe get out of the idea that you're only an English teacher, because the whole concept of putting students on a career pathways means that we need to increase levels of collaboration between departments. I would also recommend that a new instructor visit or observe a vessel class, and ideally a vessel class that's following a model that you might want to replicate. Just the idea of having a lab where all your students are working on different things was a new idea for me, and it was very helpful to observe how that was managed and structured. And of course, curriculum is always a big question. Where do you get all this curriculum? A lot of sharing takes place, but it requires taking initiative to reach out and ask people, what are you using? May I see it? I have always found that people are very open to sharing.